yeah, I just still am like, I drove a third of the way across the country after finishing, what did I say, 7 French 75s, 2 Lavender Tom Collins, 3 shots of tequila.
That'll do it.
And a 3-hour nap.
We are surprisingly adept at drunk driving here at Blank Bodies.
I was sober at that point. Thank you. I was not drunk driving, though before I left Philly, I did stop at a Korean chicken place. And I got a Korean fried chicken sandwich and a liquid death.
Okay.
Well, it was like a Korean, like, fried chicken place / like, there was a whole wall of the restaurant that was dedicated to beer coolers. So they had, like, tons of different, like, imported and domestic, like, lagers and ales and all sorts of shit. But because I'm going to be driving, I was like, I can't have any of that. But they had one cooler that was nothing but liquid deaths. So I just stocked up on those.
There you go.
It was, honestly, that part was chill, but I'm still upset that I was like, I had how much alcohol and no repercussions. I'm worried about me, but you know what? It's fine. Hunter, why'd you put this in a separate channel?
I put it in the, I made a new episode, a new channel for this episode like we do all the other episodes.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if we're all gonna chuck it together in the same building a one-shot episode, but it's okay.
No, I
worries.
put a new one because I thought I would have more references than I ended up using. And I wanted them to be separate so you could notate them properly.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, on the,
Oh yeah, I should get my computer.
on the notation script, I joined the chat. You specifically were telling people that I wasn't tracking my.
You don't. There's like
I did.
There was a whole script where your source. The only thing you wrote for your source was Fangoria.
Cool.
That was the entirety of the Fangoria website and archive. Was the way you notated that, and I'm like, that can't be what he used.
That's just safe. It's in there.
It's true.
Oh my god.
From now on, my only resource is going to be Library of Congress.
Good luck.
Good luck proving me wrong. The information he's probably in there. If you read the entire Library of Congress and prove me wrong.
Oh, I was more meaning that the current administration just try to like get rid of any kind of archived anything. So I'm like, I don't know if we're gonna have a Library of Congress at this rate, but you know,
Prove to me it wasn't in there.
it wasn't.
Yeah, just help in my case. Is all I'm saying.
Oh my god, it's fine. We're fine here. It's
Here at Blank Bodies, a Vampire the Masquerade V5 tabletop and horror podcast. I'm your host Hunter, and I'm joined by.
I can't connect the internet. I'm John.
Oh my god.
It won't let me. It says
You
connect.
got Doge. They can't let you have access to the neural pathways. Hi,
Oh,
this
that's
is
because
Sarah.
it's trying to connect to my home internet.
Oh, well,
I
we're
am-
not in your house, John. We're
I
in
am-
the secret recording bunker.
Yes, I am far from away from my home, in a totally different area of the country.
Yeah, the secret recording bunker.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
12 meters underground.
I'm not actually here. I just psychically project my energy.
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. That's why we have the cube.
Mm-hmm.
The cube.
An ominous obsidian cube floating in an office chair.
Yeah.
We have to have the office chair because it actually only floats like a foot and a half above whatever surface it's on.
Yeah.
We tried to just leave it on the ground, but we couldn't get the mic low enough.
Yeah, that's how we destroyed the first 3 obsidian cubes.
Yeah, there's
They're
a problem.
delicate.
Mm-hmm.
And it hurts when they break.
Yeah, they're very sharp.
Gives me a migraine.
Oh. I was just meaning picking it up because for some reason the bunker does not have a dustpan.
There was one.
Where'd it go?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, well, so what we are going to talk about is building a one-shot.
Yeah, Sarah has done a couple episodes on running one-shots and starting a chronicle and running Vampire the Masquerade, so I thought it'd be fun to step up. And I built an outline for us to go over, and we're going to use that to actually make our own one-shot that by the end of this, you can, with little work, expand into your own one-shot.
Ew.
Or just use this as a template to make your own, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, we're dumbasses, and if we can do it, so can you.
Yeah. So
I can't open the script. The internet's still not working.
it's okay. You don't really need the script because I can read most of it.
Okay.
And it's a lot of prompts of me asking you guys questions.
Okay, let's
So
go. I'm ready to answer
Let's go.
questions.
I'll edit that out.
I was going to say, that had an aura.
Yeah, and they won't know what it was, but it was edited out. But before we get started here, content warning, vague horror stuff. I don't know what decisions we're going to make, so I have no idea what to warn you. But this is a one-shot, so I guess we will say we're not going to get too extreme.
That
This is...
Hi, if this is your first episode of listening to us. Good luck catching the vibes, I guess.
That'll be fine.
If you're a regular listener, you kind of know what to expect, so woohoo.
Yeah. And as far as sources for this episode, V5 Core exclusively. This is supposed to be introducing new players to a game or something that you can run quickly. And so we are moving forward as if the people we're designing this for only have access to the core book, not even the player's guide right now. If you want to do pre-made characters for this, you can, but we are specifically keeping in mind the disciplines and such in the core book and not any of the expanded material, just so we don't have to worry about like all the extended blood sorceries and that kind of bullshit that accidentally breaks our one shot within 5 minutes because someone has a single ability that solves the problem.
It's fine.
Yeah, but I figured that would be a good way to limit ourselves.
No, it's good. It's just I don't like that you looked at me the entire time you were saying that.
Well, you're across from me, so it's easier to look. I have to like go out of my way to look John down. Like I have to
That's fine.
twist the chair the obsidian cube is in.
Yeah.
So
That requires a lot of extra effort. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
migraine.
Also, you play Tremere, so
I do. Yeah.
that's kind of what they do.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, so let's talk about the basics. So I kind of got into this already. Excuse me, I did it again. Edited that out again. But this is built for beginner characters using only the core book to keep it simple. You don't want to overload your players. If you're introducing it, you kind of want to give them the basics. Expect them to read a third of that core book and be playing the game. So if we want to use some lore stuff from the extended universe, I think that's okay for like NPCs or the overall plot. But any assumed knowledge should come from a core book.
Yes.
I kind of want to leave room to use this as a chronicle starter or not. So I want us to write something that feels like a complete story that you can knock out in a sitting or two, depending on how long you guys want to play for and how into role-playing your players are.
Yeah.
That's always a thing that can happen. But
Give them a good little appetizer, being like, if you like this, we could expand into thing, but if you just want to do a one-shot and be done, that's okay.
yeah, the world can't end at the end of this, and all the problems of the world also can't be solved. But it should feel like a complete story that they accomplished something.
Hell yeah.
So the main goal of this is also to introduce the main vibe and mechanics of VTM we're using 5th edition. So hunger, disciplines, all 3 types of skills should be kept in mind as we're designing this.
Yes.
And we want it to be fun.
Yeah, so you're meaning like something with mental, something with social, and something with physical?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, you don't want someone to design a character and be like, oh, well, there'll be no combat, so that character I let you build will be useless for the next 4
That
hours.
always sucks.
So yeah, none of that. There at least needs to be one scene where all of those characters can shine and make a difference.
Ew.
So now that we have our basic outline, I think one thing we need to decide on is our themes and genre of what we're writing, just to kind of give us a straightforward guide. So what are we doing? Horror, action, drama? I think horror should be the main focus. Drama and action will come into the game through the mechanics and RP.
Yeah.
While we can leave room for some of those others, weaving a horror narrative is also going to take more work generally.
Yeah.
So I think we should focus on the horror and then let action's going to happen. They're vampires in an intro game. There's going to be a fight at some point, I'm sure. Drama, it's vampires. There's going to be some drama.
Y'all are just going to do that. Yeah, also horror kind of lends itself to short stories really nicely.
Yeah.
So, hurrah.
Who? Raw.
Did you finally get onto the internet?
No.
That's fine. Because I have my resources here.
Oh my
sources
God.
here, and I cited them again.
I'm so proud of you. Did I shame you into not citing your sources?
I only used one, so I made it easy.
That made it easier.
But there are many subgenres of horror. I used the website Neil Chase Film. They had a little blog post about this that I really liked.
Yeah.
And they broke horror down into the following genres. There's a lot, but slasher, psychological, gothic, supernatural, zombie, sci-fi, found footage, comedy, parody, Lovecraftian, folk, body, action, apocalypse, natural, dark fantasy, splatter, witch, possession, haunted house, torture, holiday, disaster, and they had a couple others that I was like not even worth reading. But
there's too many.
And a lot of there's even a lot of crossover between these already, like comedy and parody, dark fantasy, folk, and witch. Like there is crossover in all of this.
Yeah.
But I think gothic, supernatural, and body horror are pretty core to VTM. So we can either focus on one of those, or we can pick one of those others to focus on. This is our first big group decision here.
Yeah. Did we want to try and keep the vibes like classic Vampire the Masquerade, since it's kind of designed for baby players?
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna kind of focus on the gothic, supernatural, and a little bit of body horror then.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Some ooky, some spooky.
And some ooky.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of ways you could throw these others. I mean, if you want to do folk horror, you guys gotta go deal with some gangrel out and...
No. Could go very, just like, alright, gonna folk horror. We're gonna try and run a bar in the middle of the woods. Sorry, guys, I watch Sinners, and that's just super on the brain right now. I apologize. But it's really good. Go see it.
Yeah. Holiday, it's easy. This episode, this one shot takes place during a holiday.
Yeah,
Yay.
just stabs giving.
Stabs giving. I like it. But no, so we're doing gothic, supernatural, and body. All right. And then if we like, you can also choose other standard literary themes to guide to if there's any. It's such an extensive list. I did not even think it'd be worth pulling.
Yeah, but
an example list
would be a good resource for folks to be like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, just pull up this list and just wang jangle the mouse and then randomly, hey, stop, and then be like, that's what we're doing.
That's a good way to do it.
That's how sometimes I pick colors for things, is I'll pull up a color wheel and I'll just wang jangle the mouse around and just yell somebody to tell me to stop, and I'm like, all right, that's the palette.
I like it.
I found a list here from,
Ooh.
what's that say? Pandora Post. That lists the most common themes as love, war, coming of age, redemption, survival, betrayal, friendship, justice, courage, power, revenge, good and evil, family, fate versus free will, and death.
Okay.
I like the idea of survival.
Survival?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, so let me mark this down. This is our first big decision here.
Wow.
So
It's going in the notebook.
we've got gothic horror, supernatural, and body horror, and then we are focusing on survival.
Gonna be honest, guys, watching the Obsidian Cube manipulate this pen has been riveting.
Pretty interesting, yeah.
I didn't know he could do that.
No hands. Just cube.
No hands that you can
No
see.
hand, just cube. Oh, God.
All right, so now that we kind of have our baseline decisions made, we have some World of Darkness decisions to make. So we're talking. This is more about set and setting.
Yeah.
So do we want our players to start as members of the Anarchs or the Camarilla? I mean, what side of vampire do we want to start the players with? Do we want them to be a small part of a big machine? Or maybe more on even footing with the underdogs? Or a mix of players, some sort of threat that forces them to come together? Kind of shows a little bit of everything.
I mean, John, you're excited about the survival aspect, so what you thinking?
I like the idea of small group like anarchs trying to survive somewhere.
Yeah. Surviving the plague of capitalism and this gun I found.
Yeah.
That's fun too, because I feel like with Anarchs and some of the changes that have happened in the lore in V5, there are Anarchs who maybe don't even want to be Anarchs. There's people who just aren't allowed in anymore. So
Yeah.
you don't have it's not a choice anymore for some people. So for the survival side of things, that could be fun for some pre-made characters if you want to jump into those themes. So, all right. So we have all this figured out. So now we need a villain. We have Themes Alliance. So we need to choose what force, character, or community we're up against. And our themes should guide us what we pick. Though you can have non-matching villain, and having a non-matching villain in main theme will make it more difficult to have a coherent plot adventure. Not necessarily, but say we were writing like a folk horror adventure, you wouldn't want your main villain to be the technocracy unless it turns out, oh no, the technocracy went into this area and stirred up a bunch of shit, and now there's a bunch of ghosts that are mad. Like, so you can make it work, but it does feel a little like, what?
Yeah.
Especially for a new player.
For a new player, just be like, okay, there's ghosts.
Why are the
Why are-
computer guys summoning ghosts?
They could do that?
What the fuck, guys?
Also, there's computer guys in here?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Alright, so if we're keeping it to classic vampire TM, if we're playing Anarchs, do we want the antagonistic force to be the Camarilla? Do we want it to be another gang of Anarchs? Do we want it to be, like, werewolves?
Yeah.
What if it was
It's
like...
also Second Inquisition.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Or the Sabbat.
We're trying to pick one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
One.
dang,
Keep
I
it
had
simple.
2 ideas.
What would you have?
Well, the 2 ideas... Well, the first idea was Sabbat.
Mhm.
Like, Anarchs who were Anarchs hanging out. Maybe they were in a Camarilla city. It doesn't matter. But Sabbat have just taken over.
Mm-hmm.
And this little pack of Anarchs is like, oh, man, there's a lot of clicky boys here.
Yeah.
I like that, but I also like the idea of it's a pack of Anarchs in like a Sabbat city that the Second Inquisition is now cleansing.
Oh.
I do like with that setup either way. They're kind of like secondary targets that are just kind of stuck in the way. Like the Sabbat might be like, well, we're after them. We're just not worried about you, but you're here now.
Well, if
Yeah.
we want to keep it
Or
in...
as long as you stay out of our way, we won't care.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if we want to keep it kind of in the meta plot lore, there... In the newer Chicago by Night books, it is mentioned in there that Detroit got cleared out by the Second Inquisition, and Detroit was like a major hub of the Sabbat.
Cool.
So I don't know if we want to make the one shot just a stray pack of Anarchs just being like, I'm not supposed to be here, man.
Maybe they're trying like, hey, Detroit got cleared out.
We can jump in,
Maybe we can slowly build in, and then
oops.
then a group of Sabbat show up and say, actually,
Actually,
this is still ours.
I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah.
Also, Sabbat are just like, we don't like you fucking Anarchs. God damn it.
Pussies.
Goddamn bootlicking son of bitches. Bent the knee, you fucking bitch. There should be more static between the Anarchs and the Sabbats.
Yeah.
Especially now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it's like, the Sabbat were kind of right about the Anarchs, now that they've been, like, fully kicked out and declared enemies of the state
They're
anyway.
like, all right, sink or swim, bitch. And, like, half the Anarchs are like, I guess I'm going to sink.
Yeah. Whoops.
Immediately sink. And the other half are just like, we're organizing things. And I'm like, are you? And they're like, yeah.
We're trying.
Some's going well. Some of it's kind of...
Not.
No.
Yeah. All right.
So what did we land on that?
I think we're gonna go with Sabbat as the antagonistic force.
Cool.
It seems like it's gonna be more of like a turf war kind of a thing.
I like that the idea of it being like a very like one-sided, not in their favor turf war.
Oh, yeah.
To accentuate the survival of it, you know?
Yeah, they're just like, we can, the pack of Anarchs from Gary are like, oh, it's our time, we can take it now, and then they're just like, oh, no.
Fuck, we're stuck here.
Oh,
We
wait,
can't
wait,
get
wait,
out.
no.
Yeah. It's like they pull in just as the gates close behind them, and they're like, oh, shit.
We're not supposed to be here. I'm like, no.
Why did you come? Sweet, I like this.
Hell yeah.
Poor little Anarchs trying to survive in a scary Sabbat city.
Yeah.
Detroit by itself is already kind of an intense and scary city sometimes.
I feel like Detroit's got a bit more of a reputation than how the city is, because like every time I've been there, I'm like, it's been chill.
I think it very much depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
It's also changed a lot in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been on the upswing for quite a while now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just remembering the videos of like skaters and stuff being in areas they shouldn't be, and like cars coming out with people in ski masks and shotguns, being like, "Why are you here again?"
And there's like, we're doing a little skateboard video.
Well,
And
leave.
usually, I was gonna say, usually when they realize it's just like white boys on skateboards, they're just like, okay.
There was that one street ski video that they got ran off. Like they drove them.
Oh, I
out
forgot
of
about
the
that.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and he did say street skiing.
Yes.
Look it up.
It's cool.
It actually kind of is, not gonna lie. Well, anyways, so what's the next step, Hunter?
So the next step, I was going to talk about characters. We kind of went over all my notes I have here already, because we're keeping it to the... But we can kind of go back with what we've decided already. So they're going to be new characters. They're going to be like baseline, how you would build a character for V5 as a beginner vampire.
Do we want to keep it to fledglings?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that would be best for new players. So otherwise, you're not overwhelming them with a bunch of new disciplines. And this is your... We want to be accessible for someone who's never touched this game before. So keeping it to fledglings, I think, is a good move.
I would say if you wanted to go up to neonate, you could maybe.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's not that much of a difference.
It's basically you get 15 XP to fuck around with.
Yeah,
so
it's not
it's like,
very much.
So it's like if you want to give them a little more meat, I think that would be okay with the asterisks of if your players are people that are used to tabletop gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's fair. If they're like, I'm new to gaming, I'm like, don't do that to them. That's crazy.
Or I would also say, I don't even mean this is an insult or anything, but if the only other game they've played D&D mechanically, this one might be different enough. You might want to keep it a little simple. Yeah. Also because we're assuming pre-mades here. They're not going to be getting that 15 points to spend. You're
That's
also
fair.
the one spending it. So it's less of a, here's some extra points you can have fun with, and more of a extra points you can have fun with as you design.
Like, since we're writing this as, like, Anarchs as a custom one-shot, there is the one-shot I reviewed for the show years ago, New Blood. That is an Anarch game. And there are pre-gens in there. So, like, if you don't want to make ones, you can just rip them from that game and go, okay, these are your pre-gens.
There you go.
Hey, perfect.
Hey, that is the one that did cost, like, $8, but it also came with a bunch of, like, PDFs for printing out, like, NPC cards and things. And cool. Honestly, I still think it's worth the $8.
Sure.
Nice. All right, so we have a basic idea of our characters. So now we need to set out our plot beats.
Mm-hmm. All right, so
we're going to have an intro, middle, and end. We're planning for 3 scenes. So we need a setup to allow players to speak a bit, figure out their characters, before some sort of inciting incident kicks off the adventure. Mm-hmm. The middle should be transitory, moving us toward our conclusion. And then we'll have the big end, everything we've worked towards.
Cool.
As we're planning this out, too, we'll also need a couple major NPCs. Mm-hmm. Some to keep in mind as we're deciding these. We can come up with them before or as we're working or after throw them in if we want, but we'll need some characters to keep the plot moving. Other than our main villain, is there any big characters we think can help sell our setting and themes? A prince, a sheriff, a baron, some ghouls. Mm-hmm. Keep that in mind. We already know the main villain is the Sabbat, vaguely. Mm-hmm. So if we want to design a specific big bad Sabbat, we can do that as well.
Yes.
If we're doing body horror too, mm-hmm. I would say La Sombra or Zamitz might be good, or even Nosferatu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To make that the big scary,
just a whoopsie poodle.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say you did have a note about starting at the end, so we do want to, like, plan the conclusion, and then we can kind of figure out where the start is going to be.
That's what I thought, because kind of one of the things you said in the last episode was you really wanted the end to be the big, memorable thing. So I thought we would come up with our end, where we wanted things to end. Mm-hmm. Then we'll go back to the beginning, and then kind of fill in the middle part as a way to connect the two.
That sounds good. So do we want the end of this to be, like, a big fight of something? Or do we want this to be, like, a survival? Like, you just need to endure until X time.
Like an escape.
Yeah.
Or like a waves kind of situation where, like, backup's coming, you just have to survive.
Yeah.
So it's a fight, but they're also more fighting to survive than win.
Yeah, it's like the end is not, the win con is not defeat the bad guy, hooray. It's like, you just need to make it to X.
Right.
Yeah.
What would X be? I mean, if it's going to be like a combat, it might be cool to say, like, okay, normally combat is 3 turns. Mm-hmm. Let's make this like a 5-turn combat. Mm-hmm. You survive the 5 turns. Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
So maybe the exit is very Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like you're waiting for the truck to show up to pick you guys up, so you can just get the fuck out.
Yeah. I like that, or like, this would kind of depend on players too, if they actually did the shit, but like, maybe waiting for backup, where, you have a hold of this building, pre-scene 13 style. Yeah. But, like, you were able to shoot out a message or something, and more anarchs are coming, and they'll be here at X.
I guess the thing is, do we want the players to end the story with them staying at location, or do we want them leaving?
Escaping,
I guess would be kind of the thing.
Well, I think to leave it open to make it, like, more... I mean, either way, I guess it doesn't matter. But I would say, like, staying in location would be helpful for, okay, do we want to continue this? We're still in the city. We can still have operations against the Sabbat,
But things are chill, so if you guys want to move locations, we can just be like, yeah, you moved.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're just going to hold the fort.
I like that idea. I mean, what do you think, Hunter?
That works for me.
Cool.
I think that's fun. So the players are in a location and they're waiting for someone to show up and save the day, whether it be backup force or whatever. So I did have some questions for the end. So we know who the villain is. It's the Sabbat, quote unquote. But where are they confronting them and how? So like, what is the location? What is it an old abandoned? Do we want to go full Precinct 13? It's old abandoned police station or fire
like
department,
a warehouse, or the classic VTM. So y'all meet up at a warehouse.
I mean, it's also Detroit. It could be an old church.
I was thinking like abandoned like car factory.
I was about to say a car factory.
Abandoned car factory. That's cool.
Yeah.
A used car lot.
Yeah. Used car lot would also be good.
That'd be kind of funny,
me here
actually.
just being like Motor City stuff. I did almost go to an art school. I can't remember the name of the university now in Detroit, where the university was built in a old like assembly plant.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is I'm like kind of cool, yeah, because the studio spaces are divvied up based off of like chunks of the production line that have been like emptied out. So you just get these huge like workspaces in the building. It's actually cool as shit. But I didn't go.
Aw.
Because out of state tuition's a bitch.
Fair.
Yes. Let's do. I kind of like a car lot.
Yeah.
Because then we can have some interior, like a body shop and like.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Wreckers, and there's like some interior areas, and then there's a big outdoor area with just like piles of cars.
Piles of cars and junk and.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
Like the ending scene of Christine kind of
Hell
vibe.
Yeah. Also,
Cool.
somebody gets really ballsy, they can be like, "We're gonna turn on the car press." What? Can you?
Why not?
What if the Sabat's just like yeeting people in there? Squish.
It's how they're testing their shovel heads.
That's definitely
How much fortitude do you have?
Oh no! Praise be unto the car press.
All right.
It is a mechanism of Cain.
That is the body. There we go. There's the body horror.
A literal mechanism. So now that we have our location, we kind of answered this already, but my next question is, what kind of resistance will we face? I know you said waves, so I assume they'll be fighting off shovel heads.
Yeah.
And we wanted at least 5 rounds of combat fighting shovel heads.
I mean, do we want to make that like the very end of it? Do we want to give them a chance to like find out some stuff, or is it like okay, you guys are here, shit's about to hit the fan?
That can be kind of the middle section. Maybe we come back to where it's all like, so we have the starting wherever they're starting. We can talk about that next. And then they get to the car lot, they're kind of exploring it. Something happens and the Sabbat shows up.
Yeah.
So
I got an idea to propose when we get there.
So we'll start social, middle investigation, brain stuff, end combat. That way we get all of our skill types.
Hell yeah.
I like it.
Not that you can't use all of those throughout those, but I think that's a good...
Yeah.
Sometimes being social is with your fists.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I always love the kind of character trope of before the awful thing happens, the guy who the character who is in charge of some sort of like kind of charismatic, kind of skeevy, just weird little guy that shows up and goes like, "Hey man, what you doing? You sure?" It's like you I haven't seen you around here. Like what you got?
This seems interesting.
You're working for who? Oh, that's cute. How about you don't?
You could leave.
Or join us. And just do the creepy cult. Like, we're a happy family here.
Not up or shut up. I mean, yeah, happy family.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're defending a big car lot, and we're going to end... The big end is going to be a fight.
Yes.
The other question I had at the big end is, though, like you said, you want the ending to be the most memorable part.
Yeah.
So when they get here, we can take this and kind of weave it through the earlier parts, too, but will there be a big reveal? A surprise enemy? A turning of tables? Were things not as the players suspected? What kind of memory do we want to leave them with? Like, yes, it is a survival game, so it is going to be like a big, like, oh, fuck, like, we do want them to get knocked around a little bit, to feel like they were actually up against a threat, so maybe a little beefy enemies, even if you're a little nice to them with the dice when it comes to the actual fight.
Yeah.
I think that, like, it would be cool if as the waves go, maybe it gets rougher. Because as, like, the Sabbat would actually probably function, they'd be like, okay, send in a wave of shovel heads. Oh, they killed them? I'll send another wave of shovel. They killed those ones? Okay, well, you guys have been around for a little while. Go take care of that.
Yeah.
Fuck, they killed those guys? All right, I'll go take care of it then.
Yeah, and if we want one big survival fight that's going to last 5 rounds, that should probably be the big enemy to make them tough. If
Yeah.
it's like one, like, if we're doing fledglings, it's one, like, whatever the step above neonate is, but it's just
Pencil.
one guy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, if you have like a pack priest
Mhm.
that is malevolent, but is kind of just like, I'm also trying to feel these guys out,
Right.
It's
Like, I have no problem slaughtering you like pigs, but
but
if I don't have to, if you could, like,
if you got some moxie,
join up,
yeah,
then that's cool. I'll just kill your friend here instead.
yeah. I mean, he was a pussy, so like,
You're right. I mean,
yeah.
he doesn't deserve to hang out.
Yeah.
Look at
You,
him.
baby girl, though.
Right. I like your style.
All right, so maybe we put the shovel heads in the middle part.
Mm-hmm. Like
I
one,
have
one wave of Mookie shovel heads where they just go, "What the? Who the fuck?
Yeah.
What is this? Who is this clicking asshole?"
yeah, I kind of have an idea about that. I have some questions that
Yes.
can answer when we get there, so that's good.
I also have an idea for the middle part of how do I introduce this, and I'm like, oh, I have an idea. Go on though.
We'll talk about that. But as far as like a big reveal, since it's an Ancilla Pack priest, and you said like maybe this guy's going easy because he's scouting them out. Maybe the whole time they thought they were doing something for the Anarchs, and it turns out this whole thing was a setup to
You could write
for
it.
the Sabbat to be testing them out.
Yeah, you could write it so that like the ending dialogue, like a little debrief at the end. You could write about the car lot being rigged with cameras, and there's some guy off screen somewhere
Mm.
that was just watching the whole thing and being like,
Yeah.
ah, interesting, and then just cut the game, and everyone's like, who the fuck was that guy?
But why?
Why were they watching us? Was this a setup? Oh no!
I like it.
Okay.
Just guy watching it, just some spooky La Sombra guy, just like petting a shadow cat, and it's like, yes,
Sitting
excellent.
14 feet away from the TV.
Unless there be static.
Yep.
Yeah. He's watching it on a screen because there's a projector like 20 feet above him that's just like beaming it down. The projection ghoul.
The projection
Oh
ghoul.
no. I feel like La Sombras would hate projectors, but
If as long as they weren't like directly in, I mean, it's not that much different than a TV, right?
I guess.
I was just trying to think of a way of like, how could one view through a camera these things,
But really far
but from
away.
a distance? And I was like, well, if you're there and the projector is like way up behind you,
That's fair.
or there's just a big wall of TV screens and you're just way far away from it.
All right, so I like this. So we know the players are going to be in a large car lot.
Mhm.
There's going to be some interior areas, on some exterior areas you can draw out so they can kind of retreat to safety. There's a lot of stuff they can climb on and fight around and hide
Yeah.
in, and so very flexible ending. Then it's vampire. You don't necessarily have to draw maps. You can, but you can also let your players be like, oh, is there a car crusher? Is there this thing? Sure,
Mhm.
why not? Go hide in a Jeep.
Yeah. I'm gonna use this door as a shield. I'm like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, man. You
Yeah,
got
yeah, brother.
potence? I do have potence. Great.
I'm gonna yeet this door like it's a frisbee. I'm like, oh, that guy's getting cut in half.
I want to Captain America this Jeep door, please.
You can use your brains to hotwire a car and use it as a ramming
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
device. There's all kinds of fun you could have here with different skill types.
Oh yeah.
Let everyone
Just
participate.
go into the car part of the garage and just be like, I'm gonna rig a flamethrower out of just parts in the garage. I'm like, do you want to do that rock check test? I'm like, yeah, but they will also. And I'm like, fair.
I mean, yeah, they are Sabbat, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
There's that, and, you can have the social guy, like, you're gonna distract him, and then I'm gonna plow him over with that semi that's mostly together right there.
Mhm.
Once I fix it up. Yeah. So that I feel like that's gonna a big memorable fight. We got a good fight. We got a big reveal afterwards out of it.
Mhm.
We know they're going up against a pack priest.
Mm-hmm.
But so we know where we're going. So where are we starting? Our alliance and themes are going to play a big role in this.
Yes.
So we know we are anarchs.
Mhm.
We know we're going for gothic horror, supernatural horror, body horror. I feel like the shovelheads are going to cover that body horror.
Oh yeah.
So some sort of gothic supernatural flavor would be really good
Yeah.
vibe for the start. Even if we can either do traditional like anarchs in a shitty bar doing their thing, but I
Mhm.
feel like we could have a little more fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think because using the city with as part of the building out the environment thing as what is the theme with Gothic. could have the anarchs being like, okay, we're having a meeting at some like abandoned mansion, this is the plan. Where it's like, okay, you have your anarch leader, and he's like, okay, we're the team that's like taking point on reclaiming Detroit for the anarchs. I got you all here for this meeting. Logistics map with a string board. I love a string board.
Good string boards.
And he's like, all right, this squad's going over this part, this squad's going over here. You guys, we need you to investigate this place because it was like a business front for the Sabbat. You got your orders, sir.
Off we go.
Off we go.
All right, so we're going to start in a abandoned mansion.
Mm-hmm.
I spelt that wrong, but no one will ever know.
That's okay.
It's hard to write through a cube.
It is hard to write through a cube. I'm also pulling in some inspo from the film Only Lovers Left Alive because it was shot in Detroit, not long after the housing crisis. So there's a lot of really good locale.
Yeah.
When there was all of that drama. So if you're gonna run this one shot and you want some inspo, highly recommend that movie.
It's a very beautiful film. I will say there's some parts I felt like just kind of dragged, but
that it does, but that's like kind of part of the purpose of the film. So it's like,
yeah, it's a bit of a hit or miss film for me, but I will say it is very beautiful and it very much has a vibe to it. So we've got our abandoned mansion. We've got why not? We'll say a baron.
Yeah.
So
like. Is this like a new upstart baron that's trying to claim Detroit?
I think that's kind of what we're going for. It's like the Sabbat were kind of chased out by the Second Inquisition. A couple anarchs have decided, you know what? Seems like things have cooled down. They think that city's clear. They're moving towards Gary. They're moving towards Chicago. Mm-hmm. They've kind of left this. We can go in, and if we're smart, we can take this over.
Yeah.
So we want it to be an anarch, but I would say maybe someone a little more on the intelligent side and less on the brute force side. Mm-hmm. Someone's like, listen, we're gonna scout this out. We're gonna figure things out.
Just we're gonna go with some annoying guy that's like reads a lot of Kropotkin and just pushing his glasses up to the bridge of his nose.
Okay, so a nerd.
A fucking nerd. One of the smart bruja that's...
Yeah.
I like the idea of him not actually being a baron, but he's just being like, no, I'm the baron.
He's claiming baron.
Of
he's like,
Detroit. Yeah. He's like, I'm the baron of Detroit. We're just going to take it. And then I'll be baron.
Yeah. He is an upstart. That also, I think, is good because it sets up a chronicle where, we are helping this guy actually turn Detroit into a...
like an anarch-free state.
But if not, if this is a one-shot, it's like, well, that fucking sucked. Maybe
that was
we're
horrifying.
Leaving.
We're going to go literally anywhere else.
It's a one-shot. Maybe someone does decide to join the Sabbat. Who knows?
It becomes a Sabbat Chronicle. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it really depends how that last scene goes for your players.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you make the villain too hot, I've had that problem in games where I wrote a villain. I was like, I'm going to make the villain a little hot just because it's funny. And people fucking love hot villains. And they're immediately like, yes, daddy, I'll do whatever. And I'm like, that's not the response you respond. Now I have to write a whole new story. Fuck.
Well, not to yuck anyone's yum, but we did say we need to go back and expand on that pack priest. But we're kind of leaning into the body horror with them. Yeah. So maybe that can help us avoid the hot villain.
Maybe, but there's also people that are really into monster fucking. So that might just add to it. I don't know.
I will say, statistically, I just think there's less monster fuckers than more. And that's not a judgment call whatsoever. No. I'm talking clearly demographics specifically.
It's all good.
We are playing vampire, so there's probably a larger percentage of those than in the general populace.
True facts. I just wanted to give this is thing I've noticed as forever storyteller. If you make the villains too hot, you'll never get rid of them.
Yeah, so... if all your players are furries, don't make the villains werewolves.
Don't make them gangrel. Don't make the villains gangrel if they're furries.
The second they see one turn into a wolf, it's over.
Yeah.
All right, so, but we're talking about our nerdy baron. He said he's a bruja, but he's like a scholarly type.
Yeah.
A scholar. He's not yet baron.
I'm trying to remember the NPC we made on the bruja episodes. That was the one that was like his whole job was just to maintain the peace during the lectures.
Oh yeah.
He was just just yoked as fuck. Not this guy, though. This guy's not yoked as fuck. That guy's just in the background with him.
Being like, are you listening? Hits his stick on the ground a couple times.
I think maybe next week, if we do a follow-up episode, John and I can flesh out some more
hell yeah.
NPCs for this scene. We're doing a basic outline, so you can take this and fill out it yourself. But
Yeah.
John and I are doing a tag team episode next week while Sarah's at PAX.
Ayo.
So,
Ah.
If you find me at PAX, I will have corn tub stickers.
yes, that's true. But, so we've got our... Do we want to give him a name?
Oh, God. How nerdy do we want this man to be?
Chevron.
See, I had the name Dennis pop in my head.
Dennis Chevron.
I'm here for it. Let's go.
We're really sticking with the car theme here in Detroit.
Yeah, we are. Look, I'm just saying, when we get around to writing more VTM stuff for Indianapolis, I desperately need there to be as many painful references to Kurt Vonnegut as possible.
Oh, I'm not going to do that. That would be too mean.
What?
I was looking up the name Dennis on
Uh-huh.
LinkedIn. I was like, we'll just use this guy. But I feel like that
Rude.
not
That was pretty
not
fucking
polite.
rude.
I don't think this should be.
No!
I mean, that would be good.
No.
Look at him.
No. It's
He
too
looks like a nerdy
too dad.
brunette.
Too dad, but like not, no.
Put a leather jacket on him.
No, that made it worse. That reminded me of fucking, So for those of you who watch Red Letter Media, there's a Best of the Worst episode where they review a vanity project film, which is a whole subgenre of bad films it's called Get Even, but it's all like slammed together because the font choice is bad, so they call it Get Even.
Okay.
There's like a guy who looks roughly like that, but without glasses, who's like the protagonist of this like action adventure romance film that is just a vanity project. So it's somebody's like schlubby 80s dad, just pretending that he's the coolest guy ever and all the babes want to fuck him, and he paid this actress to like make out with him, and she's like clearly young enough to be his daughter. It's very unfortunate. But it reminded me of the Get-Even guy. So please, no, don't do that.
All right.
Give the Anarchs a little bit of credit, please.
This guy should, I think. I mean, they're probably not going to fight him. Who knows how the socialization will go? But I say he should be at least neonate, probably Ancilla as well, since he's leading things.
I would say Ancilla.
Ancilla, okay. And then,
And then he's got the mooks and the goombas.
yeah.
I mean, he himself, he is part of the Anarchs. So, like, he's got to be tough, right?
Yeah.
You don't get to be a leader in the Anarch if you're not at least a bit tough.
Yeah. I just love the idea, though, of this guy just not looking like he could fight.
Oh, no, yeah, he looks like an absolute...
Fucking nerd.
He's a milquetoast little guy.
Yeah. And then you're just like, just a short king.
Yeah.
Just a short king, no one's expecting shit. Then you're like, oh no!
And then he just tanks like a potent punch to the face and is like, okay, so I was talking.
Readjusts the glasses.
He could also be like the cartoon thug thing where like he's not powerful, but for some reason he's just got like two guys with him who like could clearly eat you whole.
Yeah, no, those guys are with him, obviously.
Yeah.
Just yoked as fuck Bruja guy.
Yeah, this dude just has a lot of fortitude. He might not be good at fighting. He's just the like...
Bruja with a lot of fortitude is also horrifying.
Right,
You're
yeah.
just like, that should not be.
He's just like, beat the shit out of me. I'm gonna keep talking and telling you what I need to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Just punching other person.
Yeah.
I need your citations, please. Whap, bap, bap.
I also think it'd be kind of lame to have this big Anarch meeting in a abandoned mansion. And they can walk around, look at it, soak in the gothic vibes.
Yeah.
But they need some other people to talk to than boss and bodyguard.
Oh,
So
what you got?
one thing I was thinking, there should be a couple other groups being sent other places.
Yeah.
And if you're designing, say, we're doing the core book, so you design one character for every clan in the core book. The other groups can just be the NPCs they don't pick.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you can, that way you kind of know what you're going into. It's like, oh, they can talk to some of these guys, get an idea of what's going on. But it's not just like, all right, you 3 or 4 people are the special boys and we're sending you on a mission. It's like, no, this is like a big event.
It's a
There
big
are
thing.
rant.
other packs.
It's a whole rant.
Yeah.
And if it's a rant, that means you can have a band or a DJ.
Yeah. You can go talk to the band.
Yeah.
I think it'd be kind of cool. You know, of course it has to be a Malkavian, let's be real. To give them a tiny teaser of the car lot.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
Just random Malkavian
weird...
be like, man, watch out for Mustangs.
Yeah, what? No, just...
Leave.
No, Malkavian just does, like, the full extra... You're gonna die up there, and leaves. Says nothing else. And everyone's like, what? And you're like, oh, yeah, this is Charlie.
Yeah, and if they pick the Malkavian, then one of the players gets to say it.
Yeah, and then
You give them a vision.
Then you get to give them a vision where Charlie just goes,
What?
So let's get back to the questions here.
I like this.
I like where
Hell
this
yeah.
is going.
Yeah, so a rant at an abandoned mansion in Detroit before
That's
new
opening scene.
Baron makes his like first claim of like, all right, I'm clearing Praxis.
Let's go.
Yeah, you guys go do this. You guys go do this. You guys.
I know
Go
this
do
is
this.
a one-shot, so we're limited on time.
Yes.
But would it be fun for him to have, like, Baron to have a moment of, no, he is a badass, we should listen to him.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I'm claiming Praxis, and somebody says, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And then he just like,
And
okay,
then
well,
he
let's
just
go ahead
full
and go.
Brendan Fraser grabs a chair and just hucks it at him.
Right.
Anyways.
So anyway, do you still think it's bullshit? Okay, I'm going to finish.
I think it'd be fun to have a little bit of a rant. You don't want to make it long, but like a little bit of him reading the plan, talking it out. This is what we're doing, and then have like a moment where it's like, does anyone disagree, or does anyone have any opposing ideas, and give the players a chance to step up. And if they don't, an NPC can do it. But either way, they just get like their shit knocked about a little bit. And they're like, okay, maybe not.
Yeah.
I think just having a player get like smacked by a bigger vampire and being like, all right, sit down. You're going.
Just like, I wasn't expecting Sweater Vest to have chops, man. The fuck?
Here we are.
So it's like, well, listen, I'm sending you all to some places that were like known Sabbat.
Yeah, like I need you guys to understand this is serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I love that tonal shift of like, oh yeah, it's a rant, there's a party, and then suddenly it's like, this is kind of serious.
Yeah, no, we could die on this.
Yeah, and then that gives the players to either be like, we're still having an adventure, or you get one or two players that go, oh.
Guys, maybe we should take this seriously.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I like it.
Yay, tonal shifts, I love those.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we've got a chance for players to do some RP, get acquainted with their characters, some minor challenges to get the blood flowing, so maybe a fight or two breaks out, maybe the social characters get into a philosophical argument.
They can do some networking, do some friendly flirting, you got options. Yeah. One of them just decides like, I'm gonna take a turn being the DJ. What? Yeah, okay. Do you have any performance?
No.
All right.
People are going to be upset with you, but let's go.
Let's go. Let's see how it goes, man.
So
the record scratches.
Yeah. So we really want to set the plot in motion and cement the vibe strongly to get the players invested. So I think having a rant, having some like organized like, oh, we disagree, fight. Maybe you can have, depending on who which characters your players are playing, there's like an opportunity to be like, yeah, you would think what this guy's saying is bullshit. You kind of want to go smack him around. Like, you can set up, like, a quick, like, even 1-2 round fight just to kind of throw the mechanics in early.
There's also, considering what's going to be happening at the end, having some doubt about the movement set in with the players early is good. Yeah. Because then when you have the pack priest show up later to give them an alternative, some of them could go, yeah.
Actually, that does make more sense.
Yeah.
If you want to go really crazy. Because it's like, it's not saying that the players will defect and necessarily go with the pack priest. They could still do the survival thing because, the whole like, oh, he's still going to murder us. But when they drive off to go be with the anarchs, they're just kind of stuck with that doubt of like...
There's
how much is it different than the cam?
But even if the whole party does say like, actually, we're down, we're joining the Sabbat, it's a Sabbat pack priest. They could very much be like... all right, if you can survive, I will accept you. And then they still have to go through that fight anyway.
And they're just like, God damn it.
And
the rest of the anarchs don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the surprise is supposed to be like, oh, we knew you all were coming to the city tonight, and we're testing all of you to see who's worth joining us and getting rid of the rest. So that's kind of where we're working to anyway. So if we build that there early, either way, when it's revealed that this was... they decided to turn this into a test for these anarchs to see who they keep.
Here the whole time.
Okay, I know it's cliche. What if the person watching the cameras is the Baron?
That would be kind of funny.
And he just set up the whole thing. He's actually Sabbat. He set up the whole thing.
You could do that.
Just saying.
It's an option.
Just saying.
It's definitely an option.
You see the camera pan back through a large, array of screens, and all you can see is a dad haircut and a sweater vest in the the glowing light of the screens, and the camera cuts.
I like that. I'm also thinking this could either be an alternative or a addition to that. The man who ends up being the pack priest is like there at one of the others at the meeting.
Oh yeah.
So he's stirring some like drama early on just to see what people really think.
Right. Maybe he's the dude that called out the Baron to begin with, and he
Yeah.
just
And
let
he
himself get rocked.
Let himself get rocked with the chair.
Yeah. Right.
He took a chair to the face and he's like, haha, perfect.
Now I know.
He's like, he threw his shoulder into that. Neat. I kind of liked it.
He's got some moxie. Maybe I'll get him too.
Not the sadomasochistic pack priest.
No way.
No way, never in this game.
And I think we kind of have now already answered my last question for this scene, which is, what is our inciting event? What breaks the scene to get the players involved? I think it's kind of the party turns more into a rant, and it's a serious, like, no, we are planning, we are discussing, there's a fight.
Yeah.
Now go.
Yeah, I like the idea of planting the pack priest as just like, there's just some guy who's like, in like, you know, because yeah, there's a lot of aesthetics in the Anarch, like the traditional Vampire the Masquerade Anarchs, where it's very like punk and alt, where you could just have the guy look like, kind of like, fuck, I always forget his name. The one guy from Near Dark, that does the bar scene. The guy's played by Bill Paxton. Where he's got, like, the leather jacket and the sunglasses.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. I can't remember that character's name right now.
I can't get on the internet. I can't look it up, sorry.
But just, like, guy in, like, a leather jacket with some, like, spikes and studs and, like, one earring and sunglasses and cowboy boots for no fucking reason.
Hi, cowboy boots are cool.
Yeah, just interrupts the meeting towards the end and he's like, are you sure? Like, can you pull this off? And then the Baron just hucks the chair.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Any other questions? And then having that guy turn and everyone's like, hey, it's the guy with that got hit by the chair.
What a funny dude. What a bitch.
What the, oh no.
Yeah.
And then he shows up later and you're like, oh, what are you doing here, Greg? Or whatever his name is. And then he's like, well, actually. And then you're like, oh, he's a problem.
He's a real problem. I also love the idea of making that guy a La Sombra, because testing people's like one of their favorite things.
Okay.
For sure.
So I'll go back and add the note that the pack priest, La Sombra.
Yeah. And they're just like, man, he tanked that. So, oh, no. Because then you also have the fun of if the players get too good at working with each other. Hi, guys. With the power of Arms of Aramon, anything is possible. Yeet the car with the tentacles. What? He's throwing
Can you use potence through arms?
Mm-hmm.
You can?
Potence actually adds damage to the arms.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah! And if you add the newer books, I know we're not talking about that in the scope of this game, but for the big bad NPC, I think it's fine to be like, in the player's guide, there's an ability that lets you be extra good at gripping things.
Mm.
And there's nothing in there that says you couldn't use it with Arms of Aramon, so I've allowed that to get stacked with the arms, and I'm like, oh no.
You just grab.
You get so good at grabbing.
Alright, so our pack priest got them grippers.
Oh no! I just hate that phrase. I'm sorry.
That's fair.
He be gripping.
Alright, so we got our
that
intro.
gorilla grip.
Do you think our pack priest could fight 100 men?
Probably.
Probably.
Oh yeah.
He's got arms.
Human men?
No.
Oh yeah.
Probably.
That's his favorite activity. Just taking on 100 men. I'm turning this into a porn search term. I'm sorry, everyone.
Oh no.
That's fine. So we've got our intro.
Mm-hmm.
We've got our end. So now we just need our transition. What happens in the middle?
Yeah.
So this is the midpoint. It moves us from A to C. It'll also likely end with a break or have at least one midway through. So we'll need at least a minor bit of excitement that we can pause on.
Yeah. I think breakpoint would be, or good breakpoint would be getting to the car lot.
Okay.
So I think the first part of the game should be the rant at the mansion. Rant at Luigi's mansion. And then, I'm not saying we need to name the Baron Luigi, I just think that'd be funny.
Though I do like it. He's killed so many healthcare CEOs.
Let's go!
He wore sweater vest too.
I did! Oh my god. He's got that really slutty thing that men do sometimes where they wear loafers, no socks.
What a slut.
Alright, so...
But, god damn it. I'm sorry, I just turned the pack, or the Baron into just Luigi Mangione. I couldn't stop myself. The meme, it was right there. Anywho. Yeah, so I also think it's a fun character moment to ask players, like, hey, how do you get from A to B?
Yeah.
Because then, because a lot of people don't plan on having modes of transport written on their character sheets.
And if you're making their character sheets, they might not have them.
Yeah, so that's a fun moment of like, okay, how do you guys get from the mansion to the car lot?
I'm gonna order a taxi.
Yeah. And then you have a bit
And
of
then the taxi driver's cane.
screaming and crying. Don't you could do that and just not tell them. They don't have to know.
Yeah.
Just gives them a weird little lore dump on some sort of archaic kindred thing.
Yeah, because it's like if they take a taxi or an Uber, yeah, you can have just the weirdly ominous, uncanny taxi driver.
Mm-hmm.
Just give some weird story about just like horrifying things that have happened in Detroit.
And
Or,
you're
I
like,
mean,
I'm
like-
not sure if this guy is a vampire or knows what's going on or what, but I'm uncomfortable.
Because
Yeah.
we do love the classic from the Stephen King. You're gonna die up there.
Yeah. The actual warning. And also, if they decide to hoof it, could be a good time to deal with hunger, give people a chance to do a feeding scene or
Yeah.
two.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're quick about it, like just how do you feed? We get through it.
Yeah, I was gonna say with
Show
the
how
predator
hunger
types,
works.
there's like the hunting pool, so you can be like, okay, guys, do you want to do any prep before you go here? Do you guys already have your supplies? Do any of you like own a vehicle? Do you want to describe that? What's the gear in there?
Yeah.
And it gives the a beat or two for the players to have a chance to actually like interact with each other without other characters.
Yeah.
So I find I fucking love just being like, okay, how do you get from A to B? And people just kind of go,
I like it. I like the idea of, I mean, them hoofing it too. That's very fun.
that's gonna be such a long
Just gonna walk
That's crazy, dog. But yeah, also if
halfway
you walk
across town.
Yeah, if you walk, you have the ubiquitous nighttime. Just somebody walks up and is trying to sell you a flower.
It's if it's at nighttime, depending on where you are in Detroit, they might be trying to sell you other things too.
Yeah, usually I've had to deal with.
I've dealt with that in Indianapolis. So
I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
It's kind of the same thing in Indy as I've dealt with the few times I've been in Detroit, where occasionally you just get somebody that walks up to you and they're just like panhandling.
Mm-hmm.
Panhandler could also be the good warning character.
Yeah. Man, I've been up to that like that car lot. It's a weird spot,
yeah,
man.
like no, we don't go up there.
I don't like that spot.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't recognize you guys. You know this area? What you
Yeah.
doing around here?
Right.
Hey you, yeah, you look too soft.
You look too soft.
Yeah,
A
just like, hey,
vampire being told by a homeless person that they might not take it too serious. And they're like, wait a minute, maybe that guy knew.
right. Or, if the players are just gonna, if they're doing a hunting thing, it's like, okay, cool. Also a chance to, if you want to explore Detroit, you could use Google Maps to be like, yeah, okay, your hunting pool is Alley Cat. That's easy to fake out. But if somebody's like, I'm a siren, it's like, okay, do you guys just like swing past a bar real quick? Or do you use Tinder?
There's karaoke night happening somewhere.
Yeah.
You're gonna get laid from karaoke night.
Yeah.
It could happen.
Hey, especially if you're a
Hey,
Toreador.
here's the thing. If you're playing a siren as your predator type, you don't have to go to completion.
It's
you
true.
just need them to think it might happen.
I will say I had I helped a friend move
Mhm.
from Utah to Indy recently, and
Yeah.
we did a little road trip.
Mhm.
The second we got over the border of Utah, there was a hotel in a town that had like weed stores and a hotel, and it was clearly all like old Gen X boomers from
Mhm.
Utah who'd gotten a room in this hotel where they could buy weed and were just having like the horniest karaoke I've ever seen in my life. Like
Yeah.
very clearly like 50-plus-year-old men like in their pajamas at like 9:30 at night at this hotel bar, like everyone kind of being a little too touchy. It was
I love
insane.
I was like, the vibes?
it was
Uncomfy.
like clearly like Utah people who are like, we can go over one state and have a little fun.
Mm-hmm.
We'd been in the car all day and we're just like, Jesus fucking Christ, we can hear this from our hotel room. This is a bit of a nightmare, but
Well, your pain is my my enjoyment right now. So
Mhm.
thank
and
you.
our inspiration. So there's your feeding scene if they want. There's some
just really awkward, horny things.
Swinger
old
motel.
people swing. Yeah.
Yeah, you could. That's the fun thing with Vampire. You could make the vibes so many different options. There's
Mhm.
tons of actually like really cool colleges in the Detroit area, so you could go have somebody go to a library and grab
Yeah.
somebody who's studying, or if you have a Sandman scene, break into a house.
Sure. Or break into a library. Just find someone who's
Yeah.
fallen asleep studying.
Yeah,
Or in a guy in flip flops and Grinch pajama pants might just be a little too touchy, and then you're like, I can feed off this.
Yeah.
You got options, but
Crocs and Grinch pajama pants.
that could be at the university or the Touch Hotel. Who knows?
yeah. We are getting. I will say this has pulled us a little bit away from my next note.
I'm
but,
sorry.
No, it's,
I just figured that, yeah, like, the rant, have that the travel time break, and then you have the rest of the sessions at the car lot.
Yeah.
I would say I like that a lot. The only other suggestion I would say, if like, you've moved through things quickly, you need a little bit more time. You could take one of those extra little goodies that you always plan for of something spooky, and they find it in the car lot.
Yeah.
They've got to the car lot, they've started exploring a bit, they find something extra spooky. Okay, break.
Yeah. Well, it's like I was trying to think of things before they got to the car lot before the break, and if they're running through things a bit quickly, you need to kind of like bulk it out a bit. One of your extra like breadcrumbs could be weird report on the radio. Somebody gets a weird phone call message from like a touchstone. If the Malkavian's there, give the Malkavian a vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my next note, too, specifically, was during the segment, we should really dive into the themes we picked here. This is where the vibe needs to reign over all, giving us time to soak it in between the major inciting incident and our conclusion. So they're sent on the job. And we know there's something big going to happen at the lot when the Pack Priest shows up, and also in the first wave of Shovelheads.
Yeah.
So everything that you do end up running here should be aimed more at the vibe that you're going for. If you're sticking with the Gothic, like, yes, we're walking through the more torn down parts of Detroit. It's like spooky. The city is almost a character in itself, and that's the supernatural is kind of through this whole thing. They're fucking vampires. Like, that's gonna happen.
Let them use like heightened senses to like just catch weird vibes, see weird shit, describe animals that have symbols for like ominous things like owls and coyotes and
big fucking black dog.
Yeah. And if you're trying to keep with building the atmosphere, you could put a little fog down. Fog's classic.
That stinky city fog.
Yeah, like just that weird smog shit.
I've found like describing things, comparing them to like fucked up body parts, saying like, there are broken buildings like cavities in the street.
Yeah. Like, I don't know you and your lived experience, but I've lived in cities where there's like parts that are well maintained and parts that are absolutely not parts. Definitely like describe like chasmous potholes, streetlights that are out. You could if you're wanting to throw in the homages to like the Gothic notes for like graveyards, on top of just the car lot being a graveyard for cars, it's not uncommon for there to be memorial sites for people that have passed due to like gun violence or like traffic accidents and things like that.
I mean,
businesses with like chain link fences in front of the doors and windows.
Blocks and blocks and blocks of like buildings that were clearly built in the 1920s and 30s that are just shuttered and then graffitied over.
Yep.
Where you're just like, you haven't seen nobody for miles.
I want to go back to the memorials on side of streets and stuff. Like, they're very touching sometimes looking at, which is kind of cool because it is that very Gothic, like, it's touching, but it's also very haunting, like describing layers of teddy bears being zip tied or stapled to this this lamp post with like a pit with a like sun faded picture of some person you can barely recognize. Like the one that was across from Piss House.
Yeah, we had that for years. There was also oh god, what else do we have? I'm so sorry.
At Piss House?
No, I was just trying to think of other memorials
there was
I've seen.
Of things.
Like at least for like inner city memorials.
I mean,
I've seen
bike, a white like a bike that's specifically painted
there's
white.
There's folks that like have memorial T-shirts.
Yeah.
I've also seen folks that have done like big yard signs. Like it looks like somebody took a plyboard and then painted over it and then printed on a photo of the decedent and then memoriam message underneath it.
Yeah.
The ones that really get to me are like, I've seen people rent them for graduations and birthdays, but it's like very clearly like that thin like advertising signs, like say when you give like a plumber come to your house and they put a sign in when your yard when they leave kind of material, but they're like 10 feet tall, suspended with ropes, and it's like Jimmy graduated high school, and there's like a big picture of him.
Yeah.
But a couple times I've seen people get those as memorials, and something about that just hits so bizarrely.
Yeah.
Now that might not fit the vibe since you're not in the that's more of a suburban thing.
That I've more seen. I've seen that in I've seen that in Indy. I've not necessarily a lot of the culture for like parts of Indy is carried over into Chicago and Detroit and stuff. So
Yeah.
I found some of this does carry over. It's definitely a thing I've seen in the more like black and brown communities, but that's just predominantly where I live.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those, like, there's portions of, like, urban Gothic and, like, Rust Belt Gothic that I find interesting, and if you want to lean into, like, Rust Belt Gothic, having rows of streets, like, have the players drive through, like, an industrial area to get to the car lot would make sense, and in the industrial area, it is, like, dilapidated, boarded up factories, parking lots, like, completely empty with, like, weeds sprouting out.
Yeah. Almost like that kind of quiet that's like doesn't make sense in the city because you're like, I know I'm in the middle of the fucking city. Why can I barely hear cars?
You're in the middle of a major metropolitan area. You don't hear cars. There's hardly any street lights. Like, you can kind of see stars, which is weird because usually there's so much light pollution you can't see fucking all. There's like, you can see a couple of them. Like, that's how desolate it is. And
I mean, there's parts of Indianapolis that's like that. You're just like, you'll walk 5 feet from like where the 5 blocks from where the skyscrapers, and you're like,
it's
what?
empty here. Why is it so quiet?
Yeah, like
another thing you could definitely describe that is very much like common in cities, like cities in general, but especially cities here in the Midwest. It's like, at least I feel this way. Tell me if I'm wrong. Is like very, very quiet places, and then like just in the distance, like just far off enough to where it's not a terrible threat, you hear like pop, 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 pop. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like that adds tension because it's like, oh shit, are the pops coming this way?
Oh, probably not.
Hopefully not.
And sometimes the pops, you have to sit there and have to listen and go. That could also be a fun tension moment for storytellers. The players hear the pops in the distance, and you have to play the game of firework or firearm.
Yes. Gunshots or fireworks.
Most of the time, it's fireworks.
Yep.
Because for some reason, I don't know about Michigan. I know in Indiana, we have stores that just sell fireworks all year. It's kind of fucking annoying.
But also, people will drive to Indiana from nearby states where they are legal to buy them in bulk. That's a very common thing.
Oh, yeah.
Same with guns, actually.
Yeah, that's actually a big problem between us and Chicago.
Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah. I've had to yell at far-right people in the States because they're just like, gun laws don't work. Look how fucked up Chicago is. And I'm like, one, Chicago is fucked up due to decades of, like, redlining. So, one, shut the fuck up. Two, Indiana's right there, and we do not give a fuck.
They can literally walk over there
They
and
can
be
walk.
like, hey, can I buy 12 AK-47s with cash right now? And they'll say, yes, sir. I'll
Yeah.
give you a discount because you're
And then
buying
they
so
mosey
many.
back. Yeah.
That's
so-
also part of why Indiana and Illinois are borderline trying to trade parts of each other's state. Like, there's a lot of people who want to give southern Illinois to Indiana and a big chunk of northern Indiana to Illinois.
Huh.
Because
Interesting.
culturally, a lot of those people, they already say they're from Chicago and they're fucking from Indiana.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
And
yeah,
then-
when you say the Chicagoland area, like, I include Gary in that because they're
Yeah.
just right there.
Yeah.
And then because there's a lot of people live in southern Illinois, and all the big cities and colleges and stuff are in northern Illinois, and they're pissed that they're paying insane taxes for people in Chicago when they live in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, Illinois.
Yeah.
So they want to pay Indiana taxes and be like, we're farmers. Treat us like they do in
Yeah.
Indiana. So there is like a movement to trade.
Weird.
Anyway, we are
Yeah.
way off topic.
It's a
but-
little off in the weeds, but it's like, it overall, we're talking about just, like, atmosphere.
Yeah.
Wait, would that make us part of Illinois?
No.
No.
Dang
no.
it. Because we're the capital.
We're too far. One, we're the capital of Indiana. Two, we're way too far south. Yeah.
Yeah, we're central.
Yeah,
Indiana.
like, we are.
We're also like
Yeah.
one of the most liberal cities in Indiana, so you'd think
It's
like all
like-
the shitty people down south of both states would be like, no, we don't want them either.
I mean, they don't. That's
Right.
why the state house is constantly passing laws that fuck with Indianapolis specifically.
That's fair,
Which
yeah.
I fucking hate.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys don't live here. You don't live here. Stop
Go away.
giving me laws.
Yeah.
You go to your place, do your thing. Fuck off.
Anyway, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We are in Gary at a car lot.
Or no,
got
we're
our
in
vibe.
Detroit.
Detroit in a car. It's the same
Yeah.
place.
We've,
That's rude.
So we've got our main setup here. They've gone through the spooky part of the city, and even if they're driving, potholes, not maintained streets, you throw some driving checks, they have to slow down, they still see an ominous car, a weirdo runs up to the car and tries to talk to him, says something
Yo,
Black Dog.
Black Dog runs across the street. They almost hit it.
They're driving.
Somebody literally tries to wash their windshield at a stoplight.
Yeah.
And is like, when they say, no, we're not going to fucking pay you, he's like, well, you won't live to see the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, shit like that.
You know.
If somebody has a good amount of streetwise, you could have them roll some streetwise and see some graffiti that might give them some, like, hints to what could happen.
The vampire iconography information stuff's always good. You can also have interaction with a houseless person to be more positive, and I find that could also be a good horror juxtaposition.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, because this is common, is you stop at a red light and there's a houseless person busking, and they're like, that's fine. And if somebody in the party decides to, like, give them money, or they're like, oh, I have a snack in the car for whatever the fuck reason, I'll give it to them. Give them a positive, but make it, like, a little ominous, where they're just, like, very, like, bless you, sir, may the Lord be with you, because I've had that happen when I've given people
That's very gothic horror, too. That's very much like the old lady missing an eye, who you give, like, a coin. She's like, bless you, may the evil of this city not place its hands on you tonight. And they're like, what?
You know what, there's gonna be good things in your future, and then they just get wrecked at the plot. But that player who does do the nice thing, make a note of that, because what you could do is, if they do the nice thing and they give the houseless person food or whatever, and they're just like, bless you, I can tell you're a good person, even though they're an undead monster.
Yeah. I
can tell you got some, good things are coming to you. The Lord provides. Give them a bonus die later on something. Just the universe being like, you know what, you are a fucked up, horrible thing, but maybe something could work out for you. Have a bonus die. And then the other person has to go. Or you can give that houseless person, like, true faith, and just make that also an awkward moment of just, they're, like, trying to do the good thing, and it's like, as you're handing them, like, the $5, it, like, kind of starts to burn. Like, there's no fire, just your skin hurts.
Yeah, you don't even have to take damage. It's just like a moment where it's like, oh.
It's just uncomfortable.
Yeah. You could also, if they decide to ask about the car lot, they could say something like, oh, I heard gangs. A gang has moved into there.
I've heard there's gang activity, and then, because I'm the person I am, just have another character just being like, what gang? What are you talking about? MS-13? Ooh, it's always MS-13. What it... Sorry, sometimes I get annoyed the way people use gangs vaguely in games, because I'm like, do you know what a gang is? Do you know who you're talking about? Do you know anything about their culture and struggles? Yes, no, yes, but it's also a one-shot and I'm being an asshole.
Yeah, if you are expecting to turn this into a chronicle, like that's your goal, that definitely look more into Detroit and its culture. There's a lot of YouTube channels that document, like, crime and gangs and the kind of things actually going on in those different cities, and you could actually research that and use a real one. But because we know, as we're writing, that there's not actually a gang there, it's vampires. The gang is the Sabbat.
Yeah.
The
gang is the Sabbat.
Maybe this random person doesn't know what gang it is because they don't know shit about the Sabbat. They're just like,
or there's like, they're
criminals have moved in.
You happen to stop at a gas station to, like, fill up the car on the way. I've used that to fuck with players. Like, hey, you realize your tank's on you? There's like, shit. So you go to the gas station. The guy at the gas station's like, oh yeah, I've seen some guys, like, surveying, or, like, they took a bunch of clipboards, or guys are driving trucks on the lot. If you don't want to deal with the gangs, there's, like, a bunch of options of, there's somebody fucking around on there. Or just like, yeah, there was a big bonfire. I thought the building was gonna burn down, so I called the fire department. Turns out there was just some kids broke in and were, like, setting shit on fire.
That's wild. It's a car lot.
That was a big bonfire, though. It was huge. The Sabbat love fire. It's a problem.
All right, so we've got our ending, our intro, our midpoint. I think depending on how long they take to get through that intro and how fast they want to get to the car lot, you either put the break when they get to the car lot. So what we've described is the entire midpoint. That it's a lot of social and investigation. If they decide to get into some trouble, they can, but it's less combat. It's kind of like the breather between the two big scenes.
Yeah.
Or if they're quick, they're there, they do a little bit of investigation, you give them some time to flesh out that area. And then the shovelheads show up, and that is the break point. It's like, all of a sudden, you see a guy just charging at you. Let's grab a drink.
Yeah. Or, okay, so the idea I had for the initial, like, very mook shovelheads, so if you're wanting to lean into the gothic, you could describe like the car garage at the car lot itself very like castle-like, and then there's like the graves of the cars, and you just want to be thematic. But having people like investigate the spot to be like, okay, we just need to clear the lot to make sure no one's here, take inventory. I fucking love springing enemies on people through either investigating the car lot and somebody opens the trunk of a car, or they're going through the car lot like shop and they open a closet or a bathroom and somebody just just
and then roll initiative.
yeah.
They're shovelheads, but they also are all La Sombra. So you could describe strange shadows or
like
the darkness seems strangely
deeper than normal. Yeah, well, it's like the pack priest is a La Sombra. The shovelheads could just be a mix of whatever the fuck.
Right, doesn't matter.
Doesn't really matter, and they're also could have been. This is where you can also get into the body horror of. It's shovelheads that, like, just got made, so they're still, like, covered in dirt and, like, the remnants of their former clothes.
Ooh, that...
Yeah.
If they're... so here's what I'm thinking. If they're, like... This is how we kind of deal with our pack priest here. But if he's... and how much forethought or how he's going about this kind of gives him more personality. But he just grabbed a couple people... buried them in the car lot, and the big like surprise scene is them digging out of the ground.
It's just like, yeah, you guys eventually get around to the back where there's like a dirt patch and there's like a brake bench and just tons of butts of cigarettes and there's like the remnants of a bonfire, and you're just like, yeah, I guess the teenagers were fucking around. There's a bunch of broken bottles. Why is the dirt moving?
Yeah.
Okay, break.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. I like the idea of having these, like, again, going to investigate. Maybe they don't attack right off the bat, but they're like, they open a trunk and there's like a corpse there.
Just parts.
And it's dirty and it's gross. It's a shovelhead. Maybe he's just fucking just sitting there. And he's like, no, I'm a corpse, 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 until it is time to fight.
Yeah, just like, yeah, you find a body, or I love giving people high strangeness things when they're investigating. One of my favorites still is the time I had you guys investigating a potential serial murderer, and you opened a box, and it was just hair.
Yeah,
Just decades of just different clippings of hair, and there's, like, different colors and textures. And...
some of them are still goopy, and some of them have parts of scalp, some of them don't.
Yeah, some of them are braided.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you just want to add to high strangeness, like, yeah, it's just like, you guys find a thing, and it's a box. Do you open the box? And they're like, yeah, what is it? It's like half of kidneys. What? It's a lot of kidneys, just half. What? The fuck? Just give them something fucking weird.
There's bite marks.
It's gotta be weird. They know they're going to something. It kind of depends on their lore knowledge, but this is something you can feed them earlier when they're talking to people, because they know they are investigating a former Sabbat, and I think the players are going to intrinsically kind of expect the Sabbat to be there to some degree, or something to be there.
Yeah.
It's an adventure. We are openly saying, hey, we're taking over the city. We're going to try and take up some old spots they used to have.
Yeah, if you have a player that's going to be more the intelligent investigating one, they're going to want to go to the office of the car lot. You can just give them, like, weird tomes that are, like, notebooks of, like, sermons, like Sabbat, like Nodist sermons that somebody's clearly been, like, writing out and then scratching out and coming up with new lines and shit.
Like, it looks like someone trying to write a Bible.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, you can get super fucking weird about it.
Start flipping through one and a
like
page
weird
of the Book
sigils,
of Nod falls out.
Yeah, like weird sigils scratched into walls and shit.
Real life inspiration from the gym I go to. There's a sauna there, and there have been multiple times I'll go after a workout, sit in the sauna for 15 minutes, and I've seen this man multiple times. He's always in a basketball jersey and like Crocs with like too many of like the little like Croc decorations. I forget what they're called, but covered in that. But he is always reading a Bible. He's always hunched over it. He's always in there before I get in there and there when I leave. And he's hunched over his Bible, sweating into it. And the Bible is like, even the hardback wood board is like warping from all the sweat. but it's got like that gold leaf, so it's kind of holding its shape, but like it's clearly
pages are,
soaking wet and wrinkly.
Yeah, but it's one of those mass-produced Bibles, so the pages are really thin anyways, and
Yeah.
then him just sweating into it is also just crinkling it worse.
Yeah, you could find a Bible like that.
Yeah.
And then you go through it and you're like,
This is not a Bible.
This is nodist shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just go, what the fuck is happening? And then somebody goes outside and finds the ground is moving. And then you have first wave of mook fight.
Yeah.
Once
They get a round to prepare, then 3 rounds of a fight.
Yeah, once that's concluded, I would say then introduce the pack priest to just be like, hey, good,
Great job, guys.
loved that. And they're like, Greg?
What are you doing here?
And he's just like, I really gotta change that pseudonym. I hate that. Greg, that was a mistake.
Never
Anyways.
introducing myself that again.
Yeah, I was workshopping a name. That was...
But
Anyways.
My real name is Andromedus.
I hate that.
I applaud you for defeating those of my own blood, though they were not at their
Shame.
best.
Well, you know, when they're fresh baked, what are you gonna do? Anyways, you guys, though, enjoyed that.
And that's when he reveals their master
The
plan.
master, you know...
We don't necessarily have to reveal the Baron was working with it too, but I think...
It's just like, he's just like, well, you know, it's like, yeah, well, I mean, if they were worthy of the Sword of Cain, they would have survived the Second Inquisition.
Oof.
I survived, though.
And now we'll see if you will survive.
Yeah!
Claps twice and you hear like screams running toward you.
You just screams and clicking and just the sounds of, like, multiple doors unlocking, and you're just like, oh no!
What?
So is he going to have more?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, if we were thinking
Potentially.
5 rounds of combat.
That's true. I didn't know if it was going to be survive while this tank of a La Sombra chases you down like
Well,
the
I
villain in
would-
Resident Evil 2.
I would say
Or-
a little combo of A and B, because then it's like, okay, the good news is for storytelling, for the other, like, shovel heads that are gonna be part of this assault,
Mm-hmm.
you
They can
already,
be paper thin if he's tough.
You already got the stat block for the base guys, just reuse that.
Yeah.
And then you have
Give him
the
less
big
health.
guy. Yeah, give them more, give the first round, like, almost no health, and the next round give a little bit more health, or a little bit beefier.
They've been up for a week.
Yeah, so at this point, it's like, if your players aren't too dumb, and you've given the players enough time, they can either, like, hole up in the office, or they can climb up a pile of cars, or scrabble on top of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And, I would say if the goal is for them to survive until backup happens, I think during the meeting, we need to make sure that there's a note where the Baron is like, all right, team, I'm going to have you guys go to one place, you guys go to another place, you guys are going to the car lot. Me and my guys are going to, like, follow back around to, like, collect the information from you guys, and then we'll call it a night.
Right.
So you're just like, okay, Baron's supposed to be here by 3 a.m.
Right.
And you're just like, we just got to make it to 3.
It's 2:30 now, guys.
Yeah.
Almost there.
It's 2:50.
Yeah.
We got to get it at 3.
Do the Anarchs have a position like kind of like a sheriff?
There's like a position called a sweeper.
Maybe have a sweeper come by. If we do
Yeah.
want the reveal that the Baron's in on it, having
Yeah.
him be the one they're waiting for.
Or he's like, yeah, it's like, okay, that'd be fair. Just be like, okay, you guys go do these things.
The sweeper's gonna come back behind you guys and get any info.
Yeah, make sure you guys aren't fucking around.
I like it.
So they're like, okay, there's just Sweeper Andrew is supposed to be here by, or Sasha or Beverly. Fuck it, Beverly's supposed to be here at this
Sweeper
time.
Beverly at 5.
Beverly's supposed to be here. Just make her just painfully Midwestern.
Yes.
Painful.
She shows up. He's like, hey, what's going on here?
Wow, just oh geez, that's a lot of damage. Oh God, the Sabat's still here?
Oh, excuse me.
Get in the truck. They are leaving.
I had an idea. So I know you said if
She's got a 60s flip.
Yes.
if they are shovel heads, they don't necessarily all have to be created by the pack priest.
Ooh.
One thing that I was thinking was have them be like Nosferatu, like clearly a different clan.
Yeah.
Adds to the body horror thing. We can describe
Have
like,
some like freaky Zamitzi.
freaky shit climbing out of the
Yeah.
hole.
Mhm.
And also, when the pack priest goes up and he's like, my friend such and such should have made stronger friends for you to meet, hinting that there are other Sabbats. So if you do pick this up, you know there's at least one or two
one
other
more,
guys
yeah.
I mean, hell,
in the city.
if you want to be like extra spooky, the Chicago by Night book has like Tally, who is an NPC character. He's like, I thought Tally would have given me better folks. So you could just do a lore drop.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Or if they know.
Or if they know, they go, oh.
We need to not be in this city, actually.
We do not have enough XP. We do not have enough XP for this encounter. Hep, hep, hep.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Because the good news is, like, I like running survival games because it's one of those, you can really calibrate how bad the encounter's gonna be.
Yeah.
Usually, I very rarely run a game or survival game where there was a TPK, because I'm like, that's not the goal. I just want you guys to be ow.
Yeah. I mean, if someone dies, I'm very sorry that it happened to you, but it is a survival situation, and it's supposed to be kind of stacked against you, so, like...
And you could do the extra horrifying thing if, God forbid, a player dies during this. Because the Pack Priest is a La Sombra, definitely puppet the shit out of that corpse.
I would also...
With obtenebration.
I would
Yes.
also
With
try
oblivion.
and keep the death to the fight with the Pack Priest so that they feel like at most they're missing like 2-3 rounds of combat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then it's game over anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them get nuked in the first round.
Yeah, and if they do lose a character and you are turning this on a chronicle, congratulations, you've played a bit. You can make a new character.
Mm-hmm.
Now the coterie, or what are they called? They're called
Yeah, they're
coteries.
so coteries.
Now the coterie has like a death in the coterie to unite around.
They have trauma bonding now.
Exactly. Yeah. Great job, guys.
And the Baron, if you decide you like, also depends where you want to go with the chronicle. If you keep the Baron as just a Baron, he's really trying to take over the city. Baron can be like, oh well, we have this person who can fill out your ranks. We still have work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that.
We have our first martyr.
I do love, right? Fucking, yeah, right? I love that. I also, in the whole Anarch Baron, that he's like, oh, he's secretly working with the Sabbat. Could be behind the screen. It's like, actually, he's trying to infiltrate the Sabbat to further.
Oh my god.
He's playing 4D chess. We're just like, what? Hold on.
If I throw a bunch of worthless neonates, fledglings at the Sabbat as a test, saying I'm handing my guys over,
Like,
maybe.
they'll trust me more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
And then, the players discover, oh no, the Baron's up to some shady shit. And then if it turns into a chronicle, then they eventually confront the Baron for being shady. And there's like, Dennis, what the fuck? And Dennis is like, actually. And then he pulls down this chart. I've been trying to get this asshole for decades.
I finally have his haven.
But I was like, and I'm not going to have you fuck this up. So are you in or are you out?
Yes.
And you're just like, God damn, Dennis, you got real.
That was intense. He takes off the sweater vest right before the
yeah.
speech. He's serious when he
He
takes off the sweater vest.
Oh no, takes the full shirt off and he's just got all these like horrifying scars and you're like, what happened? And he's like, the Sabbat tried to recruit me decades ago. And you're like, oh no. Turns out this guy's secretly been a badass the whole time.
Damn.
Anyways, yeah, so that's the one shot.
Yeah. So now we have our outline. So we're starting in a abandoned mansion. There's a little bit of a party. It kicks off into a rant. There's some space to soak in like this gothic abandoned mansion, some role playing, possibly some very light short fist fight.
Yeah.
Just, kind of stretching our legs, playing our characters. They finally get set out. They travel through Detroit to the car lot where they are hit with a lot of weird, ominous, spooky shit. There's some investigation, some socialization with locals. Then, depending on pacing, how you're going, you either break when they get to the car lot, or you give them a little time to investigate. You put more of the spooky shit that they rushed past from the city in the car lot. You do the weird shit there, and then the ground starts moving and break. If that's where you break, you'll want to extend the combat a little bit, like a 3-round combat with some shovel heads, longer social scene with the Pack Priest. That's when you let him and the players like really talk and argue, and then he flips it on them as like actually I am the Pack Priest and it's time to test you kind of situation. But you let him talk a little bit in like them work things out a little bit, and then he flips on them if they've been really quick. If not, you can have him just show up and be like, now the real test starts. Here's a little bit of information. Or even just have him continue talking as he just, like, tanking at them terrifyingly.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you're in a rush, be like, all right, we got to wrap up in next 20 minutes. As he swings a giant shadow tentacle through there, he's just, like, rambling about how he wants to add you to his own pack.
Add you to his own pack, talking about how just ancient horrors are rising up from the lake. And it's time to raise the sword of Cain once more, you know.
That's good.
Not that I don't enjoy a good villain ramble.
No, monologuing is never bad.
He he should monologue through the combat anyway, because it's a survival thing, and he needs to feel, I think he should feel a little half invested.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to him, he is testing you. He's not actually fighting you. It should feel like if he wanted to, you'd be dead. But he's clearly just like, let's see what they can take.
Yeah.
Kind of situation. Oh, shame. I thought he could take that if someone does die. He just like, I thought he'd be tougher than that. Anyway.
We're continuing on.
Yeah, horrifying thing to do is if one of the characters gets a little separated from the rest of the group, have them just get plucked by a tentacle and just suspended in the air.
For a
I
little
like
while.
it.
Yeah, then the group goes, no! Or they abandon him. I hope they don't.
Peace, guy!
I was like, good luck! You're just like, oh no. That's a good moment to test the cohesiveness of the coterie. This is like, do you guys care enough to go get the Nosferatu, who's now just flailing in the air?
I imagine this would be for 3 to 4 players.
Yeah.
Anyway, that'd be the ideal. 2's too little. 5, I feel like, would
5's pushing
break
it.
break the survival feeling.
Yeah.
Unless you really amped up the
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't go.
numbers of
Yeah,
enemies.
for a
that
lot
is.
of one-shots, I'd say never go past 6.
Yeah.
I've tried it, don't go
Yeah.
past 6. If you're an experienced storyteller, you can do 6 in a one-shot like this, and it works pretty well. I've done it. But,
I like to max my table at 5.
Yeah.
From personal experience.
yeah, I was gonna say, if you're new to storytelling and you're using a one-shot like this to, like, you know, bust into your chops, 3 to 5, perfect. 4 is like a golden number. The
Yeah.
golden girls, if you will.
Yeah. Oh, a quick note, too.
Yes.
Because I have been in games where this has happened, if for some reason your party is like, you know what, fuck these shovelheads, we're getting him.
Mm-hmm.
And they decide to focus him, remember, he's a Lasombra, and you can just shadow step away. So that dude doesn't have to die. He can be a reoccurring villain if you decide to pick it up later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if they do you can let them get some good hits in.
Oh,
if they're
absolutely,
really,
yeah. I mean, he's only going to run if he's like, I'm about to die,
Yeah.
right? He's got to show off that he's fucking tough. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I think the only thing that would really stop that, and there's still ways around it to continue the story anyway. It's one of them like decides to like try and stealth stake him.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like really the only thing that I could see really throwing this off. If they pull that off early, then it's kind of like a
If somebody decides to stake him and they somehow do that,
They deserve it, first of all.
don't take that away from them. Let absolutely give that to them, but you have like 2 options that I think if you want to keep this pack priest a villain, if you want to keep him around. Which is, 1, there are rituals that let players or characters remove hearts or move them.
Mm-hmm.
So they get staked, and there's like, haha, he's gonna be a torpor. Just give them that horror beat of like, count to 3, and then be like, that past priest looks up at you and goes, wrong side, asshole, and then
Does a thing.
yeets that person or bitch slaps them something. And you just go,
Or just straight up name drops whatever ritual it is.
yeah. And you're just like,
You've
what?
never heard of the blah 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 ritual?
Yeah.
Bitch slaps.
Yeah, or, you know, it's just imply that he's working with, like, anti-tribute to Mir, and there's that the old ritual that would allow you to tank 1 staking. So it's like, yeah, you succeeded. This should have worked. But as you're trying to do this, the just stake, whatever your implement you're using, just shatters
Yeah.
into, like, bits like glass, and you're just like, I didn't know that would happen.
That shouldn't happen.
That shouldn't happen. And just have the pack priest just giggle and goes, you know, working with Gorchix is real funny. And you just go, what?
Why am I here?
What is happening? I hate this. Or you let them get staked, they go into torpor, they fall down, and then just other tentacles, like shadow things, show up and just pull them
Into
somewhere.
a shadow, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, what?
There's
Who's
that.
watching him?
Who's watching him?
Or we've already like signaled that there's a ton of other shovel heads. He's probably mentioned there's other Sabat in the area. Like, they could hit the stake and then still be like, all right, we still gotta fucking go because there's like a bunch of clicking dudes climbing over cars everywhere. We don't have time to like fuck with this guy.
Right.
Like, we knocked him out. Go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so
It's-
you could just
It's
impress.
time to run.
You could just impress. You got him. There's a big wave of shovel heads coming at you.
Right, yeah. You've staked him. He's down. Great job. What about the 20 dudes headed your way?
Yeah.
Oh dear, it's time to get in the truck, children.
Yeah.
The number just gets bigger.
The faster they move.
The faster through the adventure.
Yeah.
So, and I think either way that sets up a fun chronicle. But if you get to the end of it and they're just like, damn, okay, that's vampire. I get it.
I get it now. Huzzah.
I think it's still a very satisfying ending. It's so
Oh,
cool.
hell yeah. I would recommend, when you guys do the writing the NPC stuff, prep a couple of psycho Sabat lines to give the pack priest just to have them as bullet points.
Yeah, we can do
Because
that.
I have found that really helps me with NPC rambles.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because having a pre-written... I personally, for storytelling, I don't like a fully pre-written monologue, because that just sucks with immersion and
And what do you do
keeps
this?
me locked, and I'm not able to react to, like, what players are giving me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found having a couple of bullet points of, like, these are things the character needs to hit, and just having those on note cards like, helps so goddamn much.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Get weird with it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Weird religious.
Get weirdly religious. Also, if you can pull in things that would, like, interact or affect or be, like, horrifying to the characters, it's like, this is where the cheat sheet for knowing what your character's convictions are is good, because then you can have a character challenge that or affirm those in a way, because he's trying to recruit them, kind of.
Yeah.
Hey.
I like it.
Hey, guys. That
What if he just
cheat
name
sheets.
dropped a touchstone?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's just like,
You know,
Shelly.
he's-
What would Shelly think about this?
Right. They see, the Brujah rip one of the shovelhead's arm off and
Mhm.
beat him to death with it, and he's like, wow, Shelly will be interested to see that.
Wow. And they're just like, what? I
Excuse me?
was like, right? And then just like, now he's gonna, it's like, I was like, that gives you opportunity to run like a terror frenzy or anger frenzy check.
Mhm.
So you get people used to that mechanic. Options.
It's
Yeah.
me.
He's threatening your touchstone. Now we gotta account for this.
Mm-hmm.
All
He
right.
knows who your fucking touchstone is, first of all. Like,
So that means he's
that
got ops
by
on you.
itself, yeah.
It's just like oh no.
Which would also lend to the he's trying to recruit you. Maybe he's a Lasombra. He's probably been watching you for a while.
Mm-hmm. Because they're creepy like that.
Yep. How long have you been in the Anarch movement while he's been watching you move?
Yeah. Quite good questions to have people ask at the beginning when you're at the ranch. Just being like, yeah, so you guys are in the network. Like, how long you been around? Like, how involved are you?
Yeah.
And then just have that circle round at the end.
Good stuff.
So we did a lot of this already.
Yeah.
But just for people following around and people who kind of want to use this as a template for designing their own one shot outside of this, we went over our outline. We expanded some stuff already. We fleshed out things that could fill out time where players might move fast. We went and kind of added details from this early scenes we wrote to the other scenes. Kind of tied everything together. Are there any other surprises you think a player could throw at us other than a staking that might throw things off? I mean, obviously there's the dumb characters like, I'm not going to do it. And then they're like, all right, you don't have to play.
Yeah.
Other than
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, if a player, I have had players in earnest have a character pull a Benny kind of a situation where they're like, why would I do this? I'm not gonna engage. But it's like, it's not the player not wanting to engage with the material. It's just they're role playing a character who is just like, I'm a dip.
Yeah.
I
I am not down for all that.
Yeah, so it might be good to have one or two things prepped for that. So that's why I found like when you have the little rant section in the beginning when the characters are interacting, try to establish some reasons for the characters to give a fuck about each other or be aware, or if a character is like, hey, I'm going to disengage because survival, like, why would I fight? This is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
This is where also having that list of the coterie tenets and the convictions comes in real handy, because if the character's dipping, you can be like, okay, well, this goes against your coterie chronicle tenant or your personal conviction, so you can give them a little highlighted moment of like a crisis.
Right, like I know that we're gonna die if we go do this.
Yeah.
But it is a coterie tenant or a conviction of like, don't leave your homies behind.
Yeah.
And that's what helps when you're the one who writes the pre-made character sheets. And if you have characters, if you're letting people make characters, it almost helps to have those characters and then go back and add those things to the adventure you have. So give yourself a little bit of time between getting their characters and actually starting, so you can tie them in.
What I would say personally to like also kind of avoid that entirely is, if you're going to be making your own characters, have your session 0 where you make your characters together and plan out like 30-40 minutes of time on that day to say, okay, cool, we are an established group, we already know each other, like we did for our one shot for Halloween. Okay, let's talk about some jobs that we've done that went well. What about a job that we did poorly?
Yeah, like that's where like either at session 0 or between session 0 and the one shot, having a group chat's great, because then you guys can just like bullshit with each other. I fucking love just in character riff joking in group chats, like that's super fun. But it helps like to establish connections where it's like, okay, so if that one character is genuinely deciding to roleplay the I'm gonna be a coward and dip, or the I'm gonna be reasonable and dip, you could be like, hey, yeah, you start to turn, you are on the precipice of being free and clear, and then you hear your buddy screaming in the background,
don't be a bitch, come on.
Well, I was gonna say, like, they're getting their ass handed to them or whatever the fuck. Yeah, you hear your buddy in the background. You can give like a resolve and composure roll at that point.
Right.
You can like just do like a completely narrative like character moment of like, okay, you realize your buddy's in danger. Your options are either continue to leave or turn around and go like help your homie.
I mean, this is, I don't think necessarily standard, but I think it'd be kind of cool in that kind of situation. You're in the middle of the fight, he's getting his ass handed to him or whatever. Have him roll a humanity roll.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, okay, you pass your humanity roll, you get whatever successes your target number is, and you're like, your heartstrings are actually being pulled the other way. Your beast itself is also saying, hey, fuck your friend, like, you're about to die, dude, but, like, the connection you have with your friend itself is reminding you.
And frankly, if they do get past all this rolls, there's a lot of spooky shit happening beforehand, but, like, I think you're starting with the intro that they're being given a job. They're expected to do it. This is like part of, you believe in to some degree in the Anarch movement. You are here for a reason. And most of the spooky shit is ominous, but not actually threatening until they get to the car lot fight. If they do decide to actually dip, again, kind of like if someone dies, they're missing out on maybe 2-3 rounds of combat, because it'll take them a round or two to get away. Ideally, you can just have the guy, oh, he's sneaking off. I see you. Roll some dice.
Yeah.
Or like some shovel heads they have to sneak past. You can just put the other two guys are running and fighting, and the one guy is having to sneak past shovel heads for a scene or two. Car shows up, they all get in anyway. Like, you can just let a player fucking run, and then they just have a new type of challenge.
Yeah, that was the second option I was eventually going to get to, so thank you. But yeah, the first one is just like, you can give them a character moment of like a crisis, or just being like, oh, you want to escape? I'm going to make this a fucking nightmare for you. It's just like, joke's on you, suddenly you run into a shovelhead that's got fucking auspics and clocks your ass.
There's that, or they're playing Metal Gear Solid.
Just in a cardboard
everyone else is
box.
playing Tekken for a scene or two.
Yeah, they're just like, sneak.
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
And
it's
then
a
you get
shitty move, but it's great for like this situation specifically. The pack priest is like, I see you. Arms of Aramon's him back to where he started the run, and is like, try again.
Better.
So if he's gonna run, he has to either try again or start fighting.
Yeah.
Oh, but you do also get the potentiality of having the great character moment of they get all into Betsy's, what did I name her?
Beverly.
We get into Bev's truck, and they're all just like screaming and panting and like covered in their VT and other people's VT and dirt and motor oil, and they're just like, "Why'd you run? What the fuck? Why?"
There's that. There could also be the good horror ending. This is a one shot potentially. That was our goal. Where, one person runs off and hides, everyone else Beverly shows up and leaves with, you're left alone in a car lot full of shovelheads and a pissed off Lasombra.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna probably find you eventually.
Good luck.
Cut.
Yeah.
Cut. What you guys didn't catch was the red light of the record camera exit out with
Yep.
the post-credit scene.
Love it.
Honestly, though, I do enjoy characters just yelling at each other.
Mm-hmm.
And to make it harder to hide, or easier to hide,
Mm-hmm.
most cameras don't have fucking red record lights on them if they're security cameras.
No. It's
true.
They just sit there. You could say, there's cameras. You can't tell by looking at them if they're on or not. It's an old car lot. There's probably security cameras.
If any of you has a tech roll, you could maybe roll int and tech to see if you can figure out where the camera is rooted. So they're like digging in the office.
Is there power even?
Yeah. And then the other group is in the yard, and then that's where they run to the shovelhead. So then you have the combat where half the party is already at the shovelhead pit, and you're stuck inside this office going tap 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 tap.
Completely oblivious.
You just hear screaming.
Okay, I just had this idea. This is going back a little ways, but what if one of the creepy things as a potential, just an option. What if the shovelhead pit is literally a pit in the office, and there's just like one of those shitty, office rugs on top of it? You're investigating, you find a trapdoor.
I think it could be depends where the players are when the time comes for you to
Unveil
spring
the
the
pit.
trap.
Yeah.
It's a one shot. You need to have movable events. If they're spend the whole time investigating outside, it's somewhere outside. They're in an actual like dirt pit.
Mhm.
If they're just not leaving the office and that's where it is, then they find like
You find it.
shit. It could be one of those like pits they have under cars in mechanics pits. So you can like just stand up underneath a car above you and work on it.
Yeah.
It could be something like that.
It's just like, hey, something just clicks your mind. You find the control panel buttons to like raise the car.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, so you raise the car, and you realize that the work pit underneath where their wood should be empty is full of dirt. Okay, we're breaking now.
Yeah.
And there's like, what?
Why?
That's not good.
How are you going to work on a car with that there?
Yeah.
It's useless.
There's always, the break room. You open the door to the break room and you realize somebody has taken a pickaxe and like bore through the tile floor, the concrete padding to the dirt. And there's just a big hole in the break room. And you're like, what?
Also strange. Why?
Yeah. Why
Why
would
is
you do
this like this?
Yeah. Just, gotta, good or bad, you gotta be really, really flexible with one shots.
Yeah.
But you just gotta be like, okay, I have start, I have point A, I have breadcrumb, ending.
Yep.
So, woohoo.
We have given breadcrumbs.
Yes, we've done it. Good job, Henry.
Yeah.
Thank you for leading on that.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's the best just like method for setting up. So you pick your themes, you pick your goals, then you kind of decide what your setup and villain are. Then you find a cool ending, decide where to begin, and then just fill in the rest in between. That's usually my method.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I pick the big thing I want to happen, and then I kind of plan around that so that you can kind of where you're going. It's like a road trip. We're going to Disney. Well, I'm in Indiana.
Yo,
you
we can stop at the Smoky Mountain Knife Works.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's like a mall for knives. They have a little knife museum where they have a bunch of weapons that have been confiscated in prisons. Some of them I'm like, how the fuck did you hide this in the first place? They're like short swords made out of files.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But yeah, so like if you want to kind of take this format and use it to make your own one-shots, feel free. If you decide to run this for your players or edit it or use any of us, let us know, tag us.
Hell yeah.
Be interested to hear what people do with it. I think next week we're going to do some follow-up. So we were a little behind the scenes. We record on Friday, so if you're in the Discord or on social media, hit us with any feedback before Friday if you'd like Skipper and I to acknowledge it on the show. But
you got a week. Let's go.
we might say cool on social media otherwise, but yeah, we sit down here on Fridays and talk. So I think next week we're gonna flesh out these NPCs a little bit. It'll be like a fun hangout. Maybe add some other characters to the city.
I was gonna say, since it's NPCs building, go ahead and include the other books.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, like for the players getting used to the one shot, keeping it to the mechanics is fine. I think it's fair to be like, if I'm fleshing out this pack priest,
Use some stuff from the Sabat book.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
we can get fucking weird with it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No. And, like, who knows? We're gonna flesh things out. We'll see where things go. We did say the Second Inquisition came through and wiped things out. If you are turning this to a chronicle, you could put some hints of what the Second Inquisition were up to in the city. Like, clearly, like, something went down here as they're walking through the city to the auto lot. Like,
I mean, even at the auto lot, I think it'd be kind of cool to be like, yeah, there are bullet holes all over the inside walls. There are piles of ash in weird places. Like,
there's
Yeah.
a bloody Bible, like a real Bible.
Yeah, you
right.
could also have, as they're traveling across the city, things like, commenting also, like, please state thing, because I'm a crazy person. There's, like, shot mics just all over. Just occasionally, just like an unmarked government car just patrolling.
Mm-hmm.
Does it do anything? No.
Not unless they interact with it.
Please don't interact. You're like, this could be a completely different one-shot if you decide to go do that.
This just changed entirely. That pack priest is now a Second Inquisition agent. Okie dokie.
Let's go. You're going, it's like, well, you got black bagged. You're now in a place that smells like motor oil? You can't see through the bag.
Oh, wow, you're at a car lot.
Weird.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's how you go, like, okay, the players have done this absolutely batshit thing. You're like, I'm now picking you up and we're going to the end location. Fuck you.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're going to pick this up next week. But thanks for listening. Thanks to Paralyze for the amazing soundtrack.
Yay.
Also go check out Hal's new band. Well, not new anymore. It's been a couple years, I think. But go check out World I Hate. They're doing stuff.
Hell
That's
yeah.
their main project now. And if you want to interact with us, we have an Instagram. We have a TikTok. We got a Blue Sky. Instagram is Blank Bodies Pod. TikTok, Blank Bodies Podcast. Blue Sky is just Blank Bodies. We also have a Discord. It's free to join. You can hang out with us, have fun. There's tons of people talking about their games, talking about video games, talking about movies, talking about lesbian, vampire, erotica, all kinds of fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And if you really like the show, you can always go support us on Patreon. We got all kinds of tiers over there, from getting special chats and titles in our Discord to being able to vote on polls. We have show notes and resources. We also have patron exclusive episodes every month. This month and next couple months, we're going to be talking about Kindred to the Embraced, the Vampire the Masquerade TV show from the 90s. It's been wild so far, but we're enjoying that. There's also more episodes like this. We did the episode where we talk about using Microscope to build a setting for Vampire. We also did, I'm drawing a blank, the game that's like Microscope.
The Quiet Year.
Yeah, The Quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did The Quiet Year for Vampire. So if you want more episodes kind of like what we did like this, we've got those over there. And if you don't have any money to throw at us, but you'd like to support the show, feel free to give us a share, a like, post on social media, a review on whatever podcasting app you're listening to us through, a recommendation to friends, a comment. All of that stuff helps us out, and we appreciate the feedback. So
this is
Comment
real...
and tell us exactly this. Wow, y'all's voices are just beautiful. You're sirens of the podcast world.
Look, we are real people making real content. It's curated. It's artisanal.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Use all of these exact words in your comments to know that you're real.
Share
To
our
know it's real.
Yeah, share our content, and also at the World of Darkness and Vampire the Masquerade. Also at Malort. I'm trying to bully them into giving us a sponsorship.
Give us money, Malort.
yeah,
we have drunk so much of you before the show.
I'm all out of Malort. I need Malort to provide me with more Malort so that I may drink Malort.
And if you,
I'll keep my mouth shut since we're trying to get a sponsorship.
I don't think it matters.
It's okay. No, they're aware. I've seen.
They know.
Have you been to the Malort TikTok channel? It's insane.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's crazy. They've leaned into it, but like in the best way. I ordered some merch. I'll do an unboxing.
Oh no.
Shit, I had a thing and I lost it. Oh my god.
I want to see you try and eat one of the Malort candies with some Halloween vampire fangs in it.
I actually have decent, fake fangs. I have several different ones.
Don't use the
but we
nice
want
ones.
the big ones.
I want, the ones that are, V-shaped, that, that are shaped for a child's mouth.
The last of those that we
they
had,
glow in the dark.
we gave away as part of, goodie bags.
I think I
Luckily,
still
they're
have
very
some.
easy to obtain.
They are. I think I still have some, and I want to see you try and chew a Malort candy with one. So
Hilarious.
at least then it won't get stuck in your real teeth.
That's true. Protect
Or
my
it'll
real
just
teethers.
stick the fake teeth to her
Yeah.
real teeth. And
Oh.
then you can be a real vampire.
Oh my god.
Imagine going to, a LARP or cosplaying as a vampire and using Malort candies to affix your fangs.
Oh no! Oh my god! Yeah, no. The thing I had remembered for Patreon, we had achieved our first Patreon goal. This is why we get 4 regular episodes and 1 Patreon episode a month.
That's true.
We have a couple other goals, including if we get to $7.50 a month, we will design a unique enamel pen and give it to the patrons
Yay.
Yeah.
wherever you are on the planet.
Well, maybe not wherever you are.
We'll figure it out.
If you're at the North Pole.
we will figure it out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
$1,000 a month. We will do our first travel vlog of Indianapolis for World of Darkness content. As a
And also just spooky stuff in the
yes,
city.
and that'll also be the Cumisode.
We just spent some time in a spooky place.
I thought
in
the
city.
Cumisode was 1,500.
No,
1,500 Chicago.
Yeah,
1500
1,500 Chicago.
Is we do a travel log of Chicago, and there's a lot of locations in Chicago for World of Darkness. That might end up being a two-parter.
It's almost like it's a major fucking setting for the game.
It's like one of the
Yeah.
major settings, in fact.
Yup. Chicago's where it's at, baby.
And those travel logs will be our first step into the world of video content. Well, we did some live.
Yeah, it would be
place,
we're
but-
further steps into video content.
Yeah, so that's where we're aiming now to expand the show. We're not. Never mind what I'll say there. But thank you for supporting us at whatever dollar amount or social support that you give us, or just your listening ears.
Yes.
We appreciate you all.
We appreciate you all, and inshallah, you guys did not split the last poll.
It's true. It's true. They did for quite a while, and
They
then
did!
Then
Last minute.
Bastards! Then last minute, we're like, no. We've made decisions.
yes, there.
Praise
I will.
be.
I will say when we're recording, there's still 2 days for them to fix this, but
That's
please
true.
don't.
I was very proud of you guys.
I'm just mentioning that in case anyone listening makes decisions of what's happening in their mind, and then we don't have to apologize later.
Oops. That's okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Mwah!